but I could just kind of tell that the whole corporate thing had drained the souls out of certain people. And I saw the life that I was living and the path that I was on at this corporate marketing agency, and it honestly scared the hell out of me. And at the same time, I was nearing my military service ending. So I was like, okay, I'm getting to this point where I cannot do that. And my excuse for not doing it is about to be over. So I got out of the military and it's like, okay, my excuse is gone. If I'm going to start a business, I'm going to do it now.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of I Fired Myself. My name is Scott Armstrong, and as always, I'm super excited to be here with you today. And today I'm featuring Jeremy Lamb, who's the founder of Blacklight Group here in Nashville, Tennessee, which is a full-service, full in-house marketing agency. And man, it's just been super inspiring to see what they're all about and get to know Jeremy. And you're definitely not going to want to miss this one. So again, if you guys want to continue your journey as an entrepreneur or learn how to break free from the 9-to-5 and become an entrepreneur and have full control over your destiny, in the episode description below, there's a link to our school community called How to Become an Entrepreneur. It's packed full of all kinds of courses and modules and curriculum, and it'll get you well on your way. So you can get a 7-day free trial to that. So I encourage you to jump in, check it out, jump in our weekly Zoom calls every Saturday morning, compare notes with other entrepreneurs, and just really level up. So, all right, guys, without further ado, enjoy the show. Welcome back to I Fired Myself. I am super excited for this one, you guys. This is going to be a dynamic, awesome, powerful episode. I'm joined here tonight with Jeremy Lamb. He is one of the owners of Blacklight Group, a marketing firm here in Nashville, Tennessee. And can't wait to get into it with him because, like I said, okay, so we'll start off by saying this. Like, this is the power of networking right here. So the last couple episodes, we've been talking about networking. It's something that keeps coming up. So something tells me there's something important about that. And I've already found how this podcast is a powerful networking tool. I've gotten into the orbit of people that I wouldn't have otherwise gotten into the orbit of. And what tends to happen is like the synergy that comes out of some of these situations is unbelievable. And it's like, I got to admit, I scrolled your content. I listened to a lot of stuff that you were saying. And you mentioned how it's like sometimes you meet that one person, it changes your whole life, the whole trajectory of your life. And it's like, that's just the power of networking, guys. So you never know when that moment's going to be. So that means you just got to get out there and just start taking opportunities. So Jeremy, welcome to the show, man.
All right, thanks. I'm excited to be here, and you're absolutely correct. Networking has changed my life, so definitely agree with you there.
Awesome. And yeah, it keeps coming up in the previous. So let's see, this is the third episode I've recorded in the last, fourth episode I've recorded in the last 24 hours. So we're just coming out the gate hard. And and seeing people keep talking about this networking thing. So we'll get there. So take us back to when you were, I know you kind of had your epiphany somewhat like after leaving school and whatnot or whatever, but take us back as far back as you want in terms of when you were just kind of dissatisfied with the status quo, working for somebody else, kind of just that whole process. Like what were you doing before running your agency? And when did you start to realize that wasn't the path you wanted to take?
Yeah, it's one of my favorite stories. So I actually, fun backstory, I was in the military for about 6 years. I was in the
Okay.
Army National Guard, and had wanted to start a business for a while, but I was doing military service, so I didn't have time. With my military commitment, as you know, it takes a lot to start a business. So I was working this corporate marketing agency here in town in Nashville, and I was nearing the end of my time in the military, part time. And at that point, it had kind of gotten to a boiling point. So I had worked at that agency for about a year, and I had worked at another agency for about a year, marketing agencies doing their paid media. And for me, I had thought it was the job. So I worked at this one agency for about a year. It's like, I don't really like this job. I like marketing and I like, videography and content and paid advertising. That's what I'm passionate about. Maybe it's the company that I work for that's the problem. So I quit and took another job at an agency doing similar things and worked there, like I said, for about a year. And the same feelings started coming up from the first agency as the second agency. So it's like, okay, maybe it's not the job. Maybe it's something in my brain that just does not like working for somebody else and just does not like this comfortable lifestyle. And again, I like to preface this. There's nothing against the people who work a 9 to 5 job.
Of
That's
course not.
perfectly fine for everybody. But for me, it's just like I saw the career path ahead of me if I were to stay there at this agency life, in terms of there are people who are working in this agency for years who just seemed okay with life, who just seemed, yeah, this is fine. I'm making money and I'm supporting a family, but I could just kind of tell that the whole corporate thing had drained the souls out of certain people. And I saw the life that I was living and the path that I was on at this corporate marketing agency, and it honestly scared the hell out of me. I was like, I can see my life ahead of me because there are people who are older than me, like upper management, working in their like 30s and 40s, and I was 24, 25 at the time. It's like, I cannot do that. And at the same time, I was nearing my military service ending. So I was like, okay, I'm getting kind of getting to this point where I cannot do that. And my excuse for not doing it is about to be over. So I got out of the military and it's like, okay, my excuse is gone. If I'm going to start a business, I'm gonna do it now. So that's kind of what happened for me is I just worked 2 marketing companies, thought it was the company, felt the same way in both of them, and kind of realized I'm making excuses for myself. I want to leave. I want to try my own thing. And now the excuses are gone, and I just took the leap.
Okay. So the last interview I did, an awesome gal named Nicole Sauce. She has a podcast and she does the whole homesteading thing and sells coffee and all this cool stuff. She described it as burning the boats. So it's basically just like, you left, not necessarily burning your connection with that company or leaving on bad terms, but you burn the boats in the sense that you're just leaving the job and you're leaving out of the airplane and you're gonna just stitch your parachute on the way down. Is that kind of how it was for you?
Well, I kind of yes and no for me. Um, I didn't just jump out of an airplane with no parachute.
Yeah.
I like to say it the smart way. A lot of entrepreneurs are just like, F this, I'm quitting and I'm not turning back and I'm not going to do this. Again, I had thought about doing it for about a year, but I was using my military service as an excuse. But I still wanted to make my own money outside of work. So I actually started freelancing some marketing services while I was working at this marketing company to kind of build myself a cushion.
Sure.
So when I was ready to take that leap, I would at least have some income. So I was kind of doing it halfway while still in the military and while still doing that agency. So I didn't fully burn the boats.
Sure.
I did it a little bit safer. I took a little bit safer route
Yeah,
where I didn't
definitely.
jump off of an edge. I built the parachute before I jumped, I guess you could say, using that analogy.
Okay, cool. Awesome. So what kind of freelance marketing stuff were you doing?
The same exact work. So my entire background is in paid media. So
Okay.
I've run Facebook and Google ads. I now run a full service digital marketing agency. But when I was working for other people, it was all the Meta ads and the Google ads and the TikTok ads and the Snapchat ads, all that stuff, the online advertising. So I was slowly building my freelance slash business at the same time. So it's still
Gotcha.
paid media stuff.
Okay, cool. So that's a great example. So we've been talking a lot of this episode. I kind of speak to the audience, so feel free to do that as well.
Yeah,
It's like listening to this. It's like I've been hearing all these different stories. We're trying to unpack people's backgrounds to give people different ideas for their exit strategy, and so that's a great way to do it.
right.
Like you people, so you can take skills that you're developing with whatever field you're in. Just start thinking about that. That's a place to start. Start thinking about what skills you're using that are applicable and valuable in what you're doing and how can you apply that maybe in a freelance capacity.
Right.
And so yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah, and I was actually lucky, and kind of what really helped me take that leap was I actually built the freelancing income to about $1,000 more than my salary was. So I was like, okay, this is clearly working. I think I'm safe to take the jump now. Because like I had mentioned earlier, I was really scared to do it. I was like, I can't do this. My benefits, my salary, my cushy 9 to 5 life, it scared the piss out of me. Excuse my language. It scared me. And I was like, I'm not going to do this unless I am 100% certain. And that's, I guess, the difference between me and the person you interviewed before.
Yeah, totally. Well, I mean, I think that's fantastic, man. And it gives you an extra boost of confidence. Because I mean, the mindset, which we'll get into, is so much different than what you talked about, the reliability of a paycheck and your benefits and all that stuff. I mean, that's something that will, what was that? The golden handcuffs right there. It's
Exactly.
there to kind of pacify you, but then there's only a limit. The limit is like you'll very quickly realize that your capacity for earning is limited by how much your boss is willing to give you. And if that's
Exactly.
no longer good enough for whatever reason, then you got to figure it out otherwise. And it's like one of my other mentors has this saying, it's like if you're in a job, your only options to get more money is to ask for a raise, get another job, or get a second job. That's it.
Exactly.
But when you're in the entrepreneur world, there's literally no ceiling to how high you can go.
No, exactly. And actually, that kind of is also part of what convinced me to do this was I was working at that marketing agency, and the first one that I worked at two. They gave me, I hit my 1 year, and when you hit your 1 year at this company, they give you a raise and they give you a new job title. And they gave me a 2% raise for about a 50% lift in my work duties, and I felt a little bit screwed over by
Wow.
that. So that's like a perfect example of, you're really, really capped. And the next job, and kind of why I even started this and really what planted the idea in my head, and I touched on this in one of my TikToks and Instagram videos. I don't know if you saw it. Um, I knew a guy who ran a marketing company who knew I worked in marketing, and he hit me up. We went to college together for a year, and he hit me up. He's like, "Hey, I have some free. This is how I started freelancing." He's like, "Hey, I have this freelance opportunity for you. I need some paid media done. I will pay you $800 a month per account," which at the time blew my mind because my salary, if you did the math, was paying me $166 a month per account.
Wow.
And that's kind of what, blew my mind and opened my mind up to making my own money was I could dang near 6x my salary per account by doing this myself. Why would I ever work for somebody else ever again?
Yep.
And that's kind of really what opened my mind was the earning potential of entrepreneurship is uncapped. It's unlimited versus working for somebody else.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And it's so interesting how this stuff evolves. Like I'll tell you a little bit where I'm at. It's like, so I got into this with the idea of like, being the video production company that the upsell then is like, hey, let's run paid ads and get you some leads because, construction. I mean, I understand your background is in like the service-based businesses,
Right.
construction and all that. So,
Yeah.
these guys can be a little like weary of certain things and they're like they get hit up by marketers every day. And so
They
they're
hate
just like
them. They hate us.
They hate marketers, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm like, no, I'm going to be the guy that makes your job site and your Instagram look like it's a freaking Netflix movie. And then if you want, we'll do paid ads. But like at the same time now, I'm seeing how that's already a constraint. That's a bottleneck for me. Is like I'm limited by only what I'm able to film and physically edit. Whereas like if I was positioning myself more as like a marketing agency, then it's like then I'm kind of like there's really no limit to where I can go with it. You know what I
Right.
mean?
And I ran into that bottleneck myself because I'm a little bit further on in my journey
Yep.
than you are. I
Yep.
ran into that bottleneck myself when I first started. Just a little bit about my background
Yep.
so
Of
this
course.
makes sense.
Yep.
When I first started, I was just doing paid ads alone. I was just a freelancer, like I'd mentioned, doing paid ads alone, and I kind of hit that bottleneck you're running into right now, where it's like, okay, I only have realistically 70 hours a week before I hit burnout.
Yep.
Maybe 80 if I was feeling crazy.
Yeah.
Um, each ad account, these are arbitrary numbers, but each ad account takes X amount of hours per week, so I'm capped. So I kind of ran as like, if I want to make even more money, what do I need to do? And the answer is work with partners or hire somebody.
Yep.
And that's kind of what I did is I took my skill set, networked like crazy, like you mentioned earlier, met other marketers in different niches, and we actually joined forces to start my now company, Blacklight Group. And that's kind of how we got over that bottleneck is I'm going to work with other people with similar skill sets. So there's more hours per week that we are able to put towards this offering that we have. So we're less capped. So I resonate with exactly what you're saying.
Totally, man. Totally, man. Okay, so I wanted to zero in on that. Okay, so you're doing the thing. You're applying your skills to the market. You're bringing your offer to the market, your skills to the market. You're getting customers. You're getting yourself built up. But then you're reaching the point of like kind of maxing out. What at what point did you realize you needed to leverage others? And was it organic? Like did it kind of fall in your lap, or did you intentionally set out to find other people to work with, or what did that, or were you already networking, or what did that look like?
Yeah, so I was already networking. That's actually how I built my entire business up until I merged and we got funded and things like that. For the first year of entrepreneurship, all I did was network. I just went to like the local Connect Nashville's and the local networking events and the BNIs, and I joined a couple like digital marketing mastermind groups and coaching programs and things like that. So I intentionally networked, one, to build my skill set, and two, when I kind of started reaching that cap, I was like, okay, I also need to find skilled people to work for me. And that's what I originally wanted. I was just going to build this thing myself and just run a paid ads company and just find people who could run paid ads for me and build funnels for me and things like that. And the whole Blacklight group merger thing kind of fell into my lap unintentionally, but it worked out very well. Obviously, it's going great.
Yeah.
I went to a networking event in Nashville that actually no longer exists, but there used to be this networking event called Network Under 40, and I was like 25 at the time, 26 maybe. And I met my now co-founder, Ander Sevilla, at this Network Under 40. And he at the time was running a web development and SEO company. And they didn't do paid ads. And he's like, hey, you do paid ads. We're looking for a good paid ads guy to kind of complement our services. We'll just refer business back and forth. And I was like, yeah, actually, some of my clients need your stuff too. So like, let's make something happen. We can just send business back and forth to each other. And then Ander is a crazy networker as well. He plays a lot of basketball with entrepreneurs. We met our other business partner he met our other business partner at playing basketball early in the morning, ran a content creation agency.
Mm.
And so that it just kind of fell into our lap. Where it's like it's three guys under the age of 27. I do paid ads, you guys do web dev and SEO, and you do content creation and branding and social media. We have all the facets of digital marketing. So we could land bigger clients, do cooler things, make more money, offer more services if we just, instead of just send business back and forth to each other, let's just start this thing and work together. And that's kind of how it fell into my lap. Like it wasn't intentional, but it kind of ended up that.
Dude, that's pretty epic. That is pretty solid. So I really want to also want to talk more about Blacklight. So I think one of the things we haven't mentioned that I find fascinating is, when did you start Blacklight?
Yeah, we started in February of 2024. So we just turned
Yeah,
two last
just
month.
turned two. You just
Yeah,
turned two. Well, give us
just
this.
turned two.
That's so awesome, man. Well, congratulations. And that you guys, do you? I hope you guys are picking up what he's putting down. It's like this is like an incredible success story that I really want you guys to resonate with. It's like, tell us about the beginning of Blacklight, what that was like, and then just take us through and just like,
Yeah, I'll give you the whole
brag on
spiel.
it, dude. Yeah, brag.
Yeah, I'll give you the whole journey.
Yeah.
So, for a while, it was me and Ander, and the third guy's name was Ryan, and we had a fourth partner named Alex. It was four of us, and we were all just working out of coffee shops and working out of each other's apartments and the conference room at apartment complexes and things like that. And that was a couple of months. And then we hadn't even merged at that point. We were really just like, hey, let's send business back and forth. Let's see if we even like each other and trust each other as business partners. And so we did that for a couple months before we even like legally merged. And we ended up making a decent amount of money together. And we were like, okay, we got proof of concept. We just made a five-figure deal. So we just made a decent amount of money. Like this can work. Let's get an office together and see if we can, work closely together with each other and see if we can make this work. And that was in January of 2024. So before we even merged. And then I also network like crazy. And I know my skill sets, right? So I know I'm not the greatest salesperson. I'm not the greatest closer. I'm a processes guy and I'm a data guy, media guy, and I'm a marketing guy. I am not a salesman and I'm not a closer. That's not one of my skill sets. So I went and networked like crazy and met our best performing salesperson now. His name's Braden Johnson. He kicks ass. Um, I met Braden at a Connect National meeting and he was selling insurance at the time. I was like, Braden, come sell with me. Like, don't sell insurance. That sucks. Like, we're a startup. We're fun. We're a bunch of guys your age. Like, just come see if you like it. And Braden agreed. So it's now five of us. We split this tiny, tiny, like closet-sized office out of a co-working space on downtown Nashville on Fourth Street, I think. And we worked there for 8 months or so, 9 months, and we were doing stupid, stupid deals just to get money in the door. Like we were literally, we had no case studies, we had no capital, we had our networks, and that was it. So we were like, okay, I know we're good at this skills and I know we can deliver, but no one trusts us because we're a baby company and we have no money. How can we get deals? Oh, well, let's just make the deals really stupid on our end so we can get some results in the door and like try to get some case studies. Let's just do some really stupid stuff. So we would offer our services for free and only collect commissions on if anything sold,
Mhm.
which worked and it didn't work. Took us a little bit of doing that before realizing that that also really heavily relies client's ability to sell. You
Yep.
know, we can generate all these leads and we can do marketing, but if
100%.
they can't sell the leads and we're collecting on commission,
Yep.
oh, maybe we're not going to make any money. So unfortunately, we burned ourselves for a bit doing that. We had one revenue share actually work, and we hit $10,000, and we are like, okay, revenue share sometimes works, but the stupid deals aren't going to put money in our pocket. So then we are like, okay, fine. We will start charging monthly retainers. And that's really when things started taking off because we had monthly revenue in the door
Yep.
and did that. And that was probably about month 4 or 5 of work, 3 or 4, something like that after working in that office. Like, okay, fine. Let's start charging retainers and actually making money because these people, a lot of them cannot sell,
Mhm.
especially, and for you new entrepreneurs out there, if somebody takes something for free, they're probably not going to be your greatest client because they're looking out for their costs. They're not actually going to respect what you do the way that you deserve to be respected. Learn that lesson and started charging. And when we started charging, we hit $10,000 a month. We realized our lesson. We started charging, and Braden just started selling like crazy. He would cold call like 100 times a day. This guy's awesome.
Nice.
Landed us a few more clients, and then a few more clients. And then after about 4 or 5 months beyond that point, so about like 8, 9 months total, we hit $50,000 a month, which was extremely exciting. So within a period of about 9 months, we went from, selling dirt cheap marketing services or working for free until it worked to let's charge monthly retainers, let's increase our pricing, let's package things together, let's figure out what we actually should charge. And we hit around $50,000 a month within our first year, which is
Nice.
fantastic.
Yep.
And that is when the rocket ship really started going the way that it went. We got very, very, very lucky and very fortunate through networking again. Like Ander and myself are crazy networkers, and so is Braden. We met people who were interested in buying a marketing company, and we didn't want to sell the entire company. So we went back with them and said, hey, we don't want to sell you the entire company, but would you be willing to buy a piece?
Mhm.
And they said yes. So we sold a piece of our marketing company. So we got investors, angel investors. We sold a little, I'm not going to say the exact amount, but
Of
we
course.
sold some of our marketing company for about a $2 million investment.
Nice.
And that is what changed our lives.
Yep.
That was freaking fantastic. That was November of 2024 is when we started those conversations. From between the time of February of 2024 and November of 2024, so about 9 months, we scaled to 50K a month and landed a $2 million investment. And that is when the rocket ship took off. We, got everything, the deal squared away with the investors. And in February or January of 2025, the investment kicked in. So between the month of November and January, we just mass hired like crazy because we got our budget straight and all this stuff. And we just mass hired like crazy. And we built the team. I think it was about 20 people or so ready to go in January of 2025. And then in January of 2025, it's funny, our office space that we had closed didn't start, like the lease didn't start until February. So for the month of January, we had people moving in. Literally, we had somebody come in from Norway. We had people from like New York, and we had people all over the place coming to Nashville to work with us. We just like leveraged our networks. Like, hey, anybody want to come work for a startup? We have this funding. Let's go. So we had people from all over the country. We had people coming to work with us. we didn't have an office space, but we know we needed to be together. So we actually just booked an Airbnb for a month and worked out of this house for a month in January of 2025. And that was a mess because I don't know if you've ever tried to work out of a house with 20 people. Probably not, but it's
Oh,
not
that's
a good
crazy.
idea.
Wow.
It's not a good idea. It's hard to work there. I was doing all of my work on a kitchen counter. Like it was not. We had our sales team cold calling out of a bedroom. Like it was funny, but we have all this crazy content from it. It was a good time. Did that for a month, landed, moved into this new office in Germantown where we currently are, and have just been scaling it ever since. We've learned tons and tons of lessons. Gotten our pricing straight, gotten our service delivery straight. Unfortunately, had to let go of a few people, had to hire a few people, had to learn a lot of tough lessons along the way.
Yep.
We're scaling, scaling, scaling. That was all of last year was just a bunch of lessons. And then now in 2026, we are where we're at right now. We're doing very well. We're regularly hitting like $70,000 a month, $80,000 a month. We've had a couple six-figure months.
Cool,
Um,
man.
and that's where we're at in March of 2026. That's the journey. And that's how it's gone. So it's been crazy.
And that's just so inspiring. And then within 2 years, you guys are just like out the gate hard. Well, it's a testament to so many different factions, so many different elements. Not only just knowing how to leverage your talents and skills. Like it seems like it was just meant to be. I love that story, how you guys came
Right.
together and each one of your separate levels of expertise kind of just meshed perfectly for this, like all in one big offering that you're able to offer the public.
Exactly. I've been saying like and I say this all the time to my business partners. They're probably tired of me hearing saying it. Like whenever something bad happens or a fire happens, I have to remind them like we are too good at what we do not to
Yep,
make a boatload of money. I
exactly.
say that all the time. Like
Yep.
you're good at this, I'm really good at that. You guys are really good at that. We are too good at this and too driven right now to not make a lot of money. And that's
Yep.
absolutely correct. It kind of feels like an act of God.
It
And I
does.
don't
Yeah.
know how like spiritual and religious you guys are, but it feels like kind of like an act of God. And I actually have a story about that too, if you want to hear.
Please.
But that kind of reverses back in time, but it does feel like an act of God. I remember when I was really, really, really wanting to start the business, I was like so over corporate, and my military tenure had ended. And I was right there. I was like, I hate this corporate job. I hate my life. I think about quitting every day, but I just couldn't take the leap. I actually didn't take the leap by choice. Um, I one night, and I'm not very like super religious, but I call it like praying or asking for a sign or asking God or whatever. One night, I was like, I want to quit, but I can't bring myself to do this. I need a sign. I need something to happen to tell me that this is the right time. And then the next morning, I got a, sorry, I'm turning on the D&D so that doesn't happen again. The next morning, I got a meeting put on my calendar with my boss and HR, and I got fired. Literally
Wow.
12 hours. I asked, God, so hold on just a second.
You're good.
Let me see if
That's
I
crazy. I mean,
literally the next
that's
morning.
how it works. And that's a sign. Dude, it's so crazy because now that I'm piecing together all these conversations, one of my other buddies I talked to the other day, he went through a similar situation where he got laid off and then he saw a sign. He was walking by, it was like a church, and the church said, like, just, I can't remember what it was off the top of my head, but it was something like, let God take over or something like that. And he was just like, let's go. And that was his sign to start a business. And that's
Yeah,
what he did, dude. And so it's like these things are happening in many people's. I mean, I've had a multitude of
right.
these situations, these similar situations. So it's like okay, I got evidence. It's like it's almost every single one of these stories has a
Right.
similar element like what you're describing.
Yeah, it was freaking crazy. I couldn't believe it. I remember I got fired that morning. It was like 9:30 in the morning. And I was like, if that's not a sign, I don't know what is. So I remember I called my mom. I was like, Mom, I think I found my sign because I would like call her like all the time. Towards the end of that time in corporate, I was like, I hate this. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. Like I called her. I was like, Mom, I got my sign. And she's like, just do it.
Yeah, dude, just do
Yeah.
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, that's perfect, man. Okay, that's so fantastic. Okay,
It was crazy.
Yeah, man. So you guys are just crushing. So what's your vision for, going forward? Like what are your goals for going into 2026 and beyond?
Yeah, so a big thing that we're doing that's very exciting is we are actually expanding. So my co-founder and the CEO of Blacklight is actually from Orange County, California. So he moved out here. He's always been an entrepreneur. He moved out here for tax purposes and things like
Go.
but he's from Orange County, California, and he has a massive network out there. He's been an entrepreneur since he was like 15, so he knows the game. He's been in it way longer than I have. So he has this just established network out there already, and he knows very wealthy people out there who have seen what we've been doing in California or in Nashville, and they're like, "Hey, man, would you ever consider expanding to California?" And we're like, I don't know, like maybe we would consider. And they're like, what if we threw some money at you to expand to California? And we're like, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So in May of this year, we're actually expanding a satellite office in Orange
Man,
County, California, which is really, really exciting.
that's awesome.
That's our next play is kind of taking it across the country,
Sure.
expanding our second office, expanding the team, really honing in on that market where our CEO is very well connected already, which is our next step, which we're very excited about.
Dude, that's huge. I mean, a lot of money in Orange County. I mean, that's the
Oh
secret.
yeah,
Solve problems for people with a lot of money and you'll be fine. Like that's the other
e-
thing too, guys. If you're thinking, hey,
exactly.
what can I do with my life? Like I don't want to be like drive a school bus the rest of my life. What do I do? It's like figure out a way to solve problems for rich people or how to make rich people even more money. That's the whole name of the game. That's it. That's awesome, man. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about mindset here. So
Sure.
you were talking about over the course of the last year, you were faced with some challenges and you had to learn some lessons and this and that. And what I know for a fact is that in the entrepreneurial, okay, so here's the thing. When you're in the paycheck world, you have this fear of failure. It's like, oh, the failure means the end. Failure means I get fired. Failure, if I mess up or if I do anything wrong, that means I'm just on my ass. And then it's just like, it's like the end of the world. It could be the end of the world to some people, but in the entrepreneur world, it's like failure, doing something wrong, learning hard lessons. That's to be expected. It's like you have to like lean into that stuff. You have to learn
Right.
and pivot in almost with such an immediacy that it almost like it doesn't even you can't even allow it to happen or affect you. So, let's speak about that a little bit because I think that that's part of the initial problem that people have is the fear of failure when it comes to starting a business. The fear of just it all going wrong, and I'm here to tell you it probably will. But
Yeah.
that's okay. You just got to keep going anyway and consider it a valuable lesson. So, we've been highlighting all the awesome positive things, but speak on that a little bit. Like what is your take a perspective on the aspect of like failure or being faced with seemingly insurmountable adversity when all the chips are on the table and there's no safety net and the buck stops with you and you got to
Yeah,
yeah
that's very valid, and that's why I had mentioned I didn't do it for a couple of months
yeah
because of that fear. I
yeah
couldn't get over that fear until the universe told me, "Oh no, you're getting over that fear, or I'm going to make you." And then the universe maybe. Um, that's very valid fear, but my kind of advice for that is, you're probably not going to do well at the beginning, and that's part of the process. Um, I'm not even gonna say probably, unless you have experience already in starting businesses, you're probably gonna suck at it really bad for the first 6 months to a year. And that's just part of the process, but you have to accept that in your brain as I'm learning, I'm figuring it out, I'm getting better every day, I'm learning what not to do, I'm understanding how to do this, and just accept that fact that I'm probably going to be bad at this thing. I'm not going to make a lot of money. I might struggle to pay bills. I might have to work a lot for no return. And the kind of what helps me get over that hump is whenever it's hard, um, I kind of think of it as an investment in my future self, is a kind of way that I like to think about it. Is like I'm investing pain now and discomfort now. So when this works in 10, 15, 20 years, and I'm sitting on a beach because my business sold for millions of dollars and I don't have to work again, I'm going to think back to the time I was 27 years old and I had payroll next week and I had three clients churn and we haven't sold anything yet. And I had to take a pay cut to pay my people. I'm going to think back on that and be like that pain, that discomfort was an investment for me to live a comfortable life later on. That's kind of what I would say is that you're going to be bad at it, but and that discomfort is going to be an investment in your future self.
Yeah, man. And it's so real. It's so real too. I think part of the entrepreneurial mind is one that just dreams. We dream big, we have big visions, and it's almost like every single like micro project along the way. I'm like, okay, this is gonna be big right here. Watch this. And it's like, ah, and the same thing with like podcasting too. I've been in the podcast game for a long time.
Right.
And it's like you put all this effort into this one episode. You're like, okay, this is the one. This is the best episode I've ever done. Everyone's gonna love it. You drop it, and it's like 300 views. And you're like, oh my God. And it's like part of that process where it's
It
like,
is.
okay, this is the one. But then it's just like the difference between people that make it and the people that don't are the ones that are faced with that setback or just it doesn't quite go the way you want it to. And then they give up. And then the
Right.
people that keep pushing and keep learning and growing and push past that discomfort will find the success, you know?
Exactly. I mean, it's the same. It's the same with anything, right? It's literally I honestly, I used to be really skinny, so when I started lifting weights, I would lift weights all the time, try to get in shape, and I wasn't seeing results. And now, I've been lifting weights at this point for like 11 years. I'm in pretty good shape. It's like the first when I was lifting weights, I was so bad. And then also, I have a decent social media following. When I first started posting on social media, I was getting 200 views a post. I was getting 300 views a post. I was getting jack shit for the amount of effort that I was putting in. Um, Eventually, I started getting hundreds of thousands and millions of views a post, but for that first little bit of time, I was terrible at it. I was awkward on camera. I couldn't get it figured out. I wouldn't make eye contact with the camera. I hated the way that I sounded, but it's all part of the process. I don't know if you watch Alex Hormozy, but
Dude.
I think he calls it the Valley of Despair. I can't remember the exact
Yeah.
the exact phrase that he calls it, but he's like 99% of people can't make it through the Valley of Despair, I think is what he calls it, but I can't remember. Like 99% of the people quit in the Valley of Despair, but if you can like crawl your way out of that Valley of Despair, that's when you start seeing the
Yeah. Yep.
success.
I love Hermosi. I love Alex Hermosi. I have to be careful though, because sometimes I'll listen to stuff and then I'm like, oh, I gotta go do that. No, no, no. Stay focused. Stay focused.
Exactly.
He talks about it too, like the lady in the red dress phenomenon. But it's like just the other day, I listened to him again in his videos. Like he's like, I just okay. So this is a great example. Like and this is for you guys out there listening. This is like so he's like, I got these like all three of my books. You can get them for like $16 or something like that. I don't just pay the
Yeah.
shipping. Like it's not even. And I'm like, what? And so I'm like, okay, cool. I want to order it. So I ordered them right away. And then I was like, but then I was like, okay, I was like, not even without thinking, I'm like, I'm giving this guy money. I'm like, okay, there's a lesson here. It's like he makes an offer that's so stupid that it's like I would be an idiot not to give him money, right? So
Exactly.
this is how you craft your offer, you guys, and it's like get to a point where it's like people feel like they're robbing themselves if they don't give you money, and almost like I'm like, God, I feel bad just only giving him that. Like, I should give him more money. I wish I could give him more money. And then he has his add-on sales, of course, which I didn't take
Yeah.
advantage of. But at the same time, in my mind, I'm like, I want to give this guy money, but then I'm also like, okay, this guy is the guru. I want to see what his sales funnel looks like. I want to see what his like follow-up nurture
Exactly.
sequence is like on his emails. And so I'm like, sign me up, give me everything you got. I want to see it all. So
Oh yeah, he's a genius too. And like if you zoom out and think about his business model, because I also bought all three of his books for
yeah,
$60.
yeah,
He's building a marketing funnel for himself because his business model is I'm going to take equity in businesses that have enough money to work with me. So what he's doing is he's training people up with his books and with his mentorship and with his entrepreneurship skills, the people who can't afford to, do the whole acquisition.com with him. He's giving them the knowledge to get them there. So when they're ready, that's when they do it. Like he's a freaking genius. I love everything that he does.
Yeah, dude, it's absolutely just so inspiring, man.
Yeah.
And it's like that's the thing. It's like all the other podcasting stuff I've been doing for so many years. It's like this is the only thing that I care about now. Like it's just like ever since, I've been doing the handyman stuff for a while, but it's like when you're doing handyman stuff, you don't have time to market or like even barely do a social media or whatever, you know what I mean? And so that's why I saw such a huge opportunity for what I'm trying to do, or what I'm doing actually. But it's like I wasn't doing the real deal. I didn't have any systems. It was all in my head. I was just kind of
Yeah.
running and gunning. I was just like a dude in a truck with all the tools, you know what I mean? But now since this new iteration of everything, I've been like taking it very seriously. Learning about customer acquisition system. I'm getting pretty good at go high level too, like the whole deal, baby. Like I'm just like locked in. And so
Yeah.
therefore I'm consuming all that content and I'm like, this is the only thing that makes sense to me now. This is the only thing that matters. It's like I can't believe like, why didn't they teach me about like CRMs in school? Why didn't they teach us about like, like in high school? Why didn't they teach us about like, you know what I mean? It's just like, what the hell? Sales skills,
Yeah.
like how to do a
It's
setter meeting, how to do a closer meeting. Like,
exactly.
what is going on here? What
It's
kind of dimension
unfortunate
are
you
we
have
living
to
in?
like seek that knowledge out yourself.
Exactly, exactly.
They don't teach it to the masses,
They don't.
unfortunately.
They don't. And so that's why I'm so fired up and passionate about, this show and kind of the community I'm trying to build around it and network meeting people like you, dude. Like this is freaking like I'm gonna leave this conversation. I'm gonna just be tingling and be like, dude, yes, let's get it. And I hope everybody
Yeah.
feels that too. So I hope everybody listening feels that way too. And it's just like this is starting to get the wheels turning, wheels turning. So and I know you have an equal passion for this stuff as well. So I want to give you an opportunity. Okay, so like let's say you're speaking to that person who has some ideas. Maybe they're sitting there. They're the one driving the school bus, listening to this podcast or something like that.
Yeah.
And they're like, I want to like I have this little skill set. Like I know how to like make or like say maybe they bought like a what is it like a laser etcher or something. They can like laser etch something and sell it on Etsy or just whatever. I mean whatever it is, but they're scared and they're not sure what to do. Like what their next step is. Like what would be your message to that person?
I would say I'm big on intentionality. So, at least in my experience, and not everyone is like this, but be extremely intentional about everything that you do. So, if you want to sell red shoes, for example, and you're passionate about red shoes and you have this new red shoe design that you can't stop thinking about, and you know if you could just sell the red shoes, what I would do is be hyper intentional about everything regarding your passion for red shoes or whatever your business is. Like, I'm going to put myself in rooms that teach me how to sell red shoes or put me in contact with people who have sold blue shoes or green shoes or socks. So I'm only talking to people, or not only, but I'm being very intentional about getting in front of people who have sold red shoes or blue shoes or green shoes or socks or whatever. And also be intentional about the conversations that you're having and the rooms that you're putting yourself in and the content that you're consuming. So you are, even if you're not fully jumping over the edge yet, you are talking to people who have done what you want to do. You are listening to podcasts. You are watching content on YouTube. You are reading books that help get you closer to that goal of becoming a red shoe entrepreneur, for example. Be hyper intentional about also cutting out the things that are driving you further away from that goal. So it's really just being extremely intentional. If you can't do it right now, do everything that you can to move you 1% closer to that ultimate end goal. Is what I would say. Like for me, for example, just so you can like a real life example of that is I probably knew for about a year before I started my business that I wanted to start a business, but I was scared. So what I did was I'm going to attend all these marketing conferences. So at least if I can't get my ass off and start a business yet, I'm going to get better at my chosen skills. So I went to all these marketing conferences and I would watch marketing YouTube videos and I would, do marketing freelance, just kind of building the skill set. And then I was also networking at those marketing conferences. So I was meeting people who were starting YouTube channels and seeing success on YouTube and seeing success in social media and run ad agencies and doing the things that I want to do. So I was like rubbing shoulders with the people already doing the things that I want to do. And then I was also consuming all this content. I love Hormozy's podcast. I love Tom Bilyeu's podcast. Like I was listening to all these podcasts on entrepreneurship and mindset and processes and business. So even though I wasn't able to do it yet, I was kind of priming my brain and priming myself to finally take the leap when I was ready to do so. And when I was ready to do so, well, I probably would not have been ready to do so if I wasn't intentional about preparing myself to be ready to do so. I guess just kind of is just be hyper intentional about if you want to do something and you can't do it right now, put yourself in positions and feed yourself content and information that'll help you get there when you are ready.
I love that advice, man. And it's again, I think it's so much about mindset. Like I venture to say like it's like 80, 90% mindset in a lot of ways, dude. It really is. And so you can start because and to go from the paycheck mentality to entrepreneurship, it is so much about mindset. So you can start rewiring, and this is a lifetime of conditioning from like public schooling through an
Oh
entire
yeah.
lifetime of a 9 to 5, 40 hour a week type job. That entire lifetime of, I mean, I hate to say it, but it's like indoctrination or just like that's how we've been taught, this is the way it is, and blah blah blah. It's like that takes a little bit of time to kind of unwind and unpack a little bit and recreate different like neural pathways to redefine certain things in our minds. And so that's a great place to start. Is yes, you're still punching the clock, but you can start listening to Alex Hormozy. You can start listening to the people that will definitely help you start to create those new neural pathways. And so it'll give you that extra boost to confidence. And so your mindset starts to reset and you
Yeah.
get that extra motivation for sure. That's fantastic. Um, so what's been like, is there anything that stands out to you as like like a struggle that you had personally, like when it comes to mindset, like time management or just anything along those lines, something that's been a struggle for you that you've overcome in this space?
I would say ego
Okay.
is one thing that I've had to overcome because my experience, just so you know, before I had quit my jobs, I had already managed millions of dollars in advertising spend at these other agencies. I've worked with like D1 universities and nine-figure corporations and NFL superstars and things like that at these established marketing companies. So I was like, coming out, I was like, oh, I'm the shit. I've already done this for all these big ass names and I've managed all this money. I've made all this money for clients. Like, I'm the shit. I'm so good at this. I have all these great case studies. No one cares, right? I mean, they care. It helps you sell, but no one cares because I didn't do that as Jeremy Lamb. I did not do that as Blacklight Group. I did that as name company here that I worked for.
Sure.
So I came out of this with like really big ego. It's like, oh, I'm so good at marketing. I'm so good at advertising. I can make all these clients a lot of money. And it kind of punched me in the face when I was like, now I actually have to sell it. People
Mm,
need to be sold to regardless of your experience. Your experience helps, but you can have the best product in the world, but like nobody's going to care at the beginning. And that's one thing that I struggled with for a very long time and had to get over was just my ego about how skilled I am at the thing that I'm selling and kind of realize that that doesn't matter as much and it doesn't hold as much weight as I thought it did. And I kind of had to get over myself a while because for a while I was like, I don't need to be good at sales because my experience sells itself because I'm so freaking good at this. I'm God's chosen advertiser. Like I really, for a while, was that bad with my ego until I kind of got humbled heavily by the market and people weren't buying from me because I was terrible at sales. And I was like,
yep. Yep. Oh, you're not God's chosen salesman, dude.
I'm not
Hilarious. That's hilarious.
that this that I'm good at the thing, but like people
Yeah,
don't give a
yeah.
fuck.
Yeah,
Excuse my language.
exactly. No, you're good. It's an uncensored show. You're good.
Dude, people don't care. And that's one thing, that's the biggest thing I struggle with is getting over my ego, getting over myself, and learning that, my experience and me as Jeremy Lamb is not enough. And I need to learn to sell and I need to learn to process my stuff and I need to learn to work with others and I need to learn all these things that are essential to growing and building a business. My experience itself and my personality itself is not the only thing that matters. And that was a struggle for a while until I kind of got over that.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean that's one thing that entrepreneurship will give you is a quick gut check and take you down a
Yeah.
couple notches and make you humbled over and over. That's for sure.
It humbled me very, very, very hard at the
Awesome. That's
beginning.
awesome. Well, I'm curious too. I guess what was like what did that look like when you were freelancing? Like what were you how were you like were you on like Fiverr or what is it freelance?
No, so
What did that
I
look
I
like?
had
How
mentioned
were
this.
you?
I'm very intentional about networking. So
Yeah.
I really was so scared that I was like, I'm going to put every single freaking measure in place possible. So when I take the leap, I will have some income. I was that scared about it. It was like I was forcing myself to build. I was essentially building a business while working at somebody else's company.
Yeah.
So for me, I got very lucky. I went to college with a guy who started a marketing company his freshman year of college in his dorm, which was awesome. And I met him when he was a senior and I was a freshman, and then he graduated, and I didn't talk to him for a few years. And I moved down to Nashville, Tennessee, and turns out he lives here.
Okay.
So he hit me up on Facebook. He's like, "Hey, you live in Nashville? I live in Nashville. We met a while ago. You work in marketing. Let's talk." And he's like, "Would you ever work for me?" It's like, "Well, I have a job." And he's like, "Oh, well, how about a freelance opportunity?" It's like,
Okay, so this was that where he was giving you
"Yeah, that's the guy."
oh, okay, that was the freelance. Okay, I see what you're saying. I was
That's kind of
okay,
how it
okay.
all started. And then
Gotcha.
that's the guy who said, "I'll pay you $800 per
That
account."
makes sense.
That's
Okay.
when my mind went. So
Okay.
that's
That
kind of
was
how that looked.
okay, cool.
And I networked with him, and obviously business owners know business owners and industry people know industry people.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I asked him, I was like, "Hey, I'm freelancing for you. Do you have any friends who could use my services?"
Yeah.
He's like, "Oh yeah, I know this guy and this guy and this guy and this guy." So he introduced me to like two or three other people who also owned marketing agencies and needed a freelance ads guy.
Gotcha.
And that was my business model for a while. Was just I'm
Cool.
going to white label advertising services for people.
Gotcha.
That's kind of how I did that. And then eventually, I also started going to Connect Nationals and things
Yeah.
before I started my business officially. I was also going out and networking, and I landed a couple clients that way, and that's kind of how.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. That makes perfect sense now. I got you.
Yeah.
All right, cool, man. Thank you. Well, shoot, dude. Is there anything else you want to leave with the audience? Any other final words of encouragement or any final thoughts to just drop on the people?
Yeah, I would say if you're considering it, just do it. It's the best decision I ever made. I'm 3 years into this thing, and there's nothing else I would ever do with my life. It's changed my life, and entrepreneurship can change yours too.
Absolutely, dude. I love it, man. Well, tell the people how they can follow and watch your journey and support your work or whatever you want to plug.
Yeah, absolutely. So my Instagram is at official Jeremy Lamb, and my website is blacklightgrp.com. That's where you can check me out. I post entrepreneurship, mindset, marketing tips all the freaking time. I try to post like 3, 4 times a week on Instagram. If you need paid ads, if you need social media management, you know where to find me. So thanks for talking.
Awesome. Well, Jeremy, thank you so much, man. Really appreciate it. And you guys come jump in. Like if you go to that, so in the episode description, all those links will be down there. But also, come check out the school community. We got this little community going. It's gonna be pretty cool. Again, there's gonna be all kinds of all kinds of stuff as we build it out. But join for now, and we'll just catch you on the flip side. So you guys, thank you so much. We'll see you on the next one.
All right.
Peace.
Thanks, Scott.